In 2008, due to extensive jail overcrowding, I requested an assistance from the National Institute of Corrections. They sent 2 individuals out here to do a jail needs and justice system assessment. And at that time, they told us that the problem wasn't just the judicial system, it was the jail facility itself, that it was antiquated, obsolete, and inadequate, and it had been that way since the day it was built, and that we needed to start planning for its replacement as soon as possible. One of the first things that I asked our architectural firm to conduct was the cost to renovate the current structure. They began that process and then they stopped when they realized that it just was not going to be economically feasible to renovate the current structure. The professional opinion is that the facility that we are currently operating has a rough estimated lifespan of about 5 years. From the time that if we have a bond referendum and it were to pass, it would take 3 years from the time of that bond referendum passing until we would occupy the replacement facility. But if we were unsuccessful in obtaining a replacement facility, it's going to get really expensive really quick.
Well, the plumbing's all getting old. The building was built in '68 and '69 when it opened. We've actually had inmates that have actually flooded their cells on purpose to be able to wash water down on to the office staff. So at night when the office staff goes home, they actually have to cover their desks with blue tarps to make sure that we're not ruining thousands of dollars of computer equipment and phones and files overnight while there's no one in the office area. With the new design that they're looking at the replacement facility, it'll be a much safer design of a facility for my staff, the inmate, and the jail staff because of the actual way the facility will be laid out. There will be no cell blocks over top office. None of the plumbing issues will actually be running through the floors. They'll actually be out where maintenance staff can get their hands on it and actually be easy to work on. So that does 2 things. It makes it safer for our guys. It makes it also safer for the jail staff because we're not pulling jail staff away to let us into some place to do some repairs. And that makes the life expectancy of it go longer.
The replacement facility would not just be a jail, it would also house all of the sheriff's administrative offices as well as the county-wide 911 Emergency Communications Center.
I'm in charge of all the dispatchers that serve Clinton County Communications. There's 12 people. We dispatch for all police, fire, and EMS services for Clinton County. We also answer all the non-emergency and emergency phone lines for the various law enforcement agencies throughout the county. Some of the problems that we run into is we have very little room for storage. My office is actually used as a storage area. One of the equipment rooms is also used as a storage area. We're just plain out of space. We also had a space needs analysis done, which shows that we should have a lot more space than what we currently do. And along with that, we had a staffing analysis done. The staffing analysis showed that we should have 3 people on duty at all times, with 4 people on during peak times. Currently, we only have 2 on at all times and 3 during peak times, and the main reason being is we only have room for 3 consoles in our current dispatch area with absolutely no room to expand. Obviously, we'd be able to add equipment that would help us to better serve the citizens of Clinton County. We would also be able to have the additional staffing study recommended that would be a lot more efficient for our responders, and it would also be more efficient for the citizens to be able to have extra staff on duty to help assist them.
The National Institute of Corrections offered to help us set up a Justice Coordinating Commission, which we then formed, all coming together to work to figure out who is it that really needs to be in jail. Currently, we aren't able to provide any programming due to lack of space. In the proposed replacement facility, we would like to have some classrooms, and that's where an individual who did not complete his high school education could get a high school equivalency degree, or at least get started on it. For those people that are suffering from mental health or substance abuse problems, they would have the opportunity to attend classes from outside agencies where they would be able to start working on those root causes of them being in the judicial system. Our goal is to have the individual come out the other end of the justice system a better citizen as opposed to a better criminal. And someday, maybe instead of being a person who's consuming taxes, would then become a taxpayer.
Since 1969, after the current jail facility is opened, the inmate population has drastically changed. We now have persons facing severe mental illnesses as well as extreme addictions. The facility was never designed for those types of inmates. It is now time to go to the more efficient, more modern jail design to be able to deal with those types of inmates and their issues.
Main responsibilities is basically to oversee the operation of the jail. My major concerns are safety, both for staff and the inmates. We've had assaults on staff. We had inmate on inmate assaults. We have what they call a linear design jail, which is the living quarters are more just square blocks. And to provide supervision, to monitor the inmates with a linear design jail is very difficult. I think a replacement facility, first of all, we would like to get away from the linear design housing units and go more to what is more common today, and that is a pod type living quarters. Pod living quarters are designed that you can have a control center in the center of all these housing units, and an officer can be in there at all times, not only watching cameras, but they can physically see into each pod. So I think our capability to monitor the inmates would drastically improve. Again, with our current facility, we just don't have enough options on how we can house these inmates and meet the classification of the jail. So on the inside, where the heart and soul of the jail really is, that's where a lot of our issues are.
The taxpayers want to know that we've used the jail facilities as best as we can and that we've squeezed all the efficiencies that we can out of the jail space that's available. And we have. We worked collaboratively together, law enforcement, judges, prosecution, to be sure that the space that we have is being used in the most efficient manner. Even despite all these efforts, we still need a new facility.
It is a responsibility of all citizens of Clinton County that this jail is here and that it functions in a safe and secure manner. The job of the sheriff and his staff is to run a safe and secure facility. It's the obligation of the citizens to provide a facility that is safe and secure.